How's it going, everyone? I'm back from my break. Thanks so much for hanging out. I hope you're having a great day. Well, I'm pretty sure a lot of y'all are wondering where I've been the last couple of weeks. Long story short, it's just that time of the year with my work and with the bands. I have a whole bunch of projects and shows every single weekend, and practice and work has been taking up all of my free time from me. So I just don't have enough time as I once did to crank out those reviews. So on top of that, you know, looking back at all of the reviews that we did, I think we wound up doing 30 albums over those few months. And I was really getting stressed out um, with the whole process. So I decided to give myself a break, focus on other areas of my life, and then when I felt ready to come back, then I would. With all that being said, though, I do want to make a shift in the channel. With as much music as there is, and I've enjoyed all of the music and talking to everybody. I think that the turnaround and amount of time that it takes to create the videos that I had been doing, it just takes so much time that I think I'm going to be doing them a little more sparingly because I want to make them very impactful and very significant. I don't want to, you know, jeopardize the quality of those videos just to crank them out. So in replace of that, I want to do some other content, like I was mentioning, tier lists, maybe some single reactions, commentary, or live streaming on Twitch. You can also join the Discord so we can have some conversations there as well. But yeah, that's all I really want to say about that. I just want to be very transparent in that I still want to continue doing the reviews like we had been doing, but they may not be coming out as frequently as they once did because I just don't have that time anymore. So, with that being said, I wanted to jump into a different type of video today, and that's going to be a tier list of all of the songs from In Rainbows by Radiohead. I feel like this is the album that has really stuck with me across all of these reviews, and I've just been listening to it nonstop across these months. We're just gonna do the top 10 songs of In Rainbows because there's only 10 songs. So starting at number 10, I'm gonna have to go with House of Cards. I really like this song, but I think that as far as every other song goes, this one is probably the one that stays in the pocket the most. I think it pretty much stays in the exact same rhythm and energy the entire song, which is not a bad thing, but I think as far as craftsmanship goes, it is probably bottom of the list for me personally. I don't really frequent this song a lot compared to every other one, and that's probably the reason is that there's nothing that entirely grabs me in this song. Maybe if I want some background music, I'll put it on, but otherwise, yeah, I would say it's number 10 for me. Number 9 is gonna have to be Faust Arp. I also love this song. I really like just kind of mimicking what Tom's doing with the vocals, and I like when he said duplicate and triplicate. I don't know why like that always tickles me, but um, this song is really good too. It kind of has like a folk sound to it, but I think the lack of drums is what kind of does it for me. And every other song that we have moving forward has some level of energy or distinction between them when it comes to the rhythms and vocals and guitar. So, yeah, I'm going to say Faustarp is number 9 for me. The next one, number 8, I'm going to have to go with Body Snatchers. Lots of energy, and I really like what Tom was doing with the vocals in this one. But I think as far as Radiohead goes, this one feels the most commercial. I think that this one is very mainstream, I guess. And in the sense that I can hear other bands playing something similar. I don't think that other bands can pull it off like Radiohead did with Body Snatchers, but it is a sound that I don't think is necessarily unique or fresh that Radiohead is very known for making. So while I do love this song, I think that there are plenty of others on the album that really resonate with me on that scale. Number 7, I'm going to have to say is the other side of Body Snatchers, and that's Jigsaw Falling Into Place. I think these two are very comparable to one another. They have the same pacing, I think. Um, but I think that where Jigsaw starts and where it ends, there's definitely a lot of dynamic in play. And I really like that transition from Tom's um, softer voice and then going into that very higher range with a lot of just emotion and energy. That was a really cool shift, and I don't think I've really experienced anything like that in other bands. The blend of acoustic in this as well is really cool. Like I said, I think that Body Snatchers and Jigsaw are two sides of the same coin. It really depends on what you prefer. Um, and I like both of them for their own reasons. I just think that I tend to gravitate towards Jigsaw a little more. Number 6, I'm going to have to go with Nude. Now, I know that this is a very popular song, and I love this song as well. I love the emotion and just the places that it takes me. Um, but as far as my listening experience, I tend to gravitate towards a lot of songs that have a lot of energy, um, mostly in, of course, the drums, but just putting myself in those good vibes and good energy. Uh, I think that this one definitely rounds out the bottom of the album for me. It almost cracks the top, but I think that there's a couple of other songs emotionally that just do it just that much more for me personally. Number 5, I'm going to have to go with Reckoner. I think Reckoner is probably the most immersive song on this album. Every time I listen to it, I just feel like I'm in a mine shaft and mining rocks with that ride bell, just how aggressive it is. It literally sounds like a pickaxe hitting rocks. And I also just recently started thinking about that scene from Snow White where the dwarves are going through the mine and mining gems, just how colorful it is. And of course, this album is called In Rainbows. I kept saying it was very colorful. So I get those images in my head also. But yeah, I just absolutely love what Tom was doing with his vocals and just how soft the instrumentation was going through this. It was a very nice blend, and how the drums eventually bled back into the mix about the halfway mark. It's just a really good listen, and I think that emotionally, this is one of the strongest songs on the album for me personally. Number 4 is another immersive song for me, and that's going to be All I Need. I think that every time I listen to this song, I know it is a really simple one off of the album, but something about it just really grabs me. I don't know if it's just that depth that we hear at the beginning and all throughout, but it feels very subnautical, like you're in a submarine just exploring the depths of the sea and just getting away from all of your problems. For me, it's a song about rebirth and discovery, and with the vocals and how it just builds up at the very end and just explodes. I think that it is a really good blend of emotion, music, and energy across the board. And this is one of my most played songs on this album for sure. So now we're at the top 3 of the album, and I don't think it's any surprise that these are my top 3. I feel very confident about every other place on this list, but these top 3 can definitely vary depending on my mood or the angle I decide to take it with these songs. So my number three right now has got to be 15 Step. This is my most played song on this entire album, and I just can't get over how this was the intro to this album. And I just have so much fun, like in the car or in the shower, just like singing out the the beginning. It's something about just how Tom is approaching, like, how can I end up where I started? I don't know why. It's like it's just so fun to sing. And when the guitar comes in, it just does that switch up and everything across the board, just like rhythmically, the drums, everything about it is just clicking on every level, but it was so different than anything I'd ever heard. It was really mind blowing. If any of these other songs didn't exist, I would have been so happy with just this one song as a single, and that was it. Number two is a very close second to my most played on this album, and that's Weird Fish's Arpeggi. This song is another layer of musicianship and just replayability for me with 15 Step. Every time I listen to this song, I think, how does something like this exist with how constant those drums are throughout this entire thing and the guitar doing that odd rhythm across the drums? They don't always line up, and I think that with that, they line up perfectly. And then how Tom was able to maneuver his way through this song with his vocals, I think it was a perfect blend across this entire listen. And he was still able to weave a very full story across it. As I've listened to the song more and more, it's almost like its own rebirth of getting away from a negative situation and turning it into something more fruitful, more positive. So I think someone had actually mentioned that in the comments. And ever since they pointed that out, I've been trying to look at the silver lining in those more emotional songs. And it's been a very huge awakening for me emotionally, musically, everything about it. And now I don't think it is any surprise, but number one is Videotape. Videotape is a song that does not get nearly as many plays as the rest of the songs on this album, but for good reason. It is just so gut wrenching, and it really takes a toll on me emotionally that I can only bear to listen to it so often without going into just like a really sad place. But I think that an emotion like that is very necessary to experience every now and again. That being said, just that piano introduction and then when Tom's voice comes in, it was so simple but unlike anything I'd ever heard. And with these top 3 songs, I just think to myself, like, how does music like this exist? And sometimes as I'm listening to it, I tear up because I'm like, I get to live during a time to actually experience and appreciate this music. And then when that odd time signature came in on the drums and was mimicking a videotape coming to an end, I thought, how did he even think to come up with that? It was so perfect. Like as soon as he did it, I understood what was happening. And I don't know if it was a reverse effect or something, but as the drum pattern was starting to be duplicated or it sounded like it was expanding, I don't know what it was, but it started sounding like a shuffling of sorts. But this was a total experience with that song, and I just can't believe that they were able to craft that. Like, never mind to come up with the idea, but then to even pull it off as perfectly as they did. And I really want to see them perform it in one of their live performances. And I also haven't seen that video of the time signature breakdown. I really want to experience those with everyone in some way, shape, or form on the channel. But yeah, those top three 100% can change in some order depending on my mood or the direction I decide to take it. But I feel very confident about every other placement on this list. So thanks so much for hanging out, guys. I hope I didn't stir the pot too much. I hope y'all can understand where I put these songs on the list. Every single one of them, I think, are perfect in their own right. I love them, but this is where I tend to gravitate towards emotionally, musically, all that. So let me know your thoughts on the list, maybe what your ranking is of In Rainbows, and let me know what you think about this video in general. Is this something that you would like to see in the future? Like I said, I do want to do some other content just so it's easier for me to turn around and upload for y'all and experience, some new avenues outside of just full album reviews. So thanks again for hanging out, guys. I hope to see more of y'all very soon, and we'll catch y'all in the next one. Thanks.